The Shining, which is a story directed by Stanley Kubrick, is based on the book by Stephen King and revolves around the Torrance family. Jack Torrance is a man currently down on his luck, as he has been recently fired from his previous job as a school teacher due to his anger issues. Jack, as the man of the house, knows that he must support his family, so finds a job as a hotel caretaker during the winter season. After successfully receiving the job, he informs his family that they will be living in the hotel during the season as large snowfalls tend to keep visitors away, making it extremely difficult to get in and out of the hotel. The Torrance family, upon entering the hotel, are greeted by the head chef, Dick Halloran. Very little is known about this character except that he was born in New Hampshire, he could have conversations with his grandmother without opening his mouth, and he possesses the Shining. Dick also informs young Danny Torrance that he also possesses the Shining, and to be careful around the hotel, as the spirits in it do not exactly favor those who shine. Although being the title of the film, the actual shining ability is almost never referenced other than when Dick talks about it. Nor does it explicitly play a large role to solving the conflict within the film. What the audience is told about The Shining is that it grants the user to speak to other users of The Shining telepathically as well as clairvoyance. This clairvoyance mainly visualizes events of the past, however, occasionally grants the user to see the future as well. After about a month of staying in the hotel, Jack starts to get frustrated and restless as he is unable to think of any new material for his play, which he has started in high school. This frustration is only the first of many signs that we see of Jack starting to lose his composure. However, the more frightening sign being that Jack starts to see other people. Little to Jack's knowledge, though, is it that these people are actually spirits of the hotel that negatively influence Jack's actions and emotions. One of these spirits even ends up being Delbert Grady, the previous caretaker of the hotel before he murdered his family and killed himself. From this point on, things only get worse for the Torrance family, as Jack ultimately gives in to his shadow and goes on a rampage to kill everyone in the hotel. Danny, Wendy, and more explicitly, Dick soon undergo the wrath that is the insane Jack Torrance, and must survive using their wisdom of the hotel. The playing field grows even more crowded as the spirits possessing Jack assist the murderous father in killing his family by trampling all the obstacles Jack and Wendy have set to slow down Jack. To leave out any spoilers, I will say that the ending is unexpected and quite clever on the director's version, considering that it has almost no resemblance to the novel at all. The scene I have decided to review in my comparison of the novel and the film is the direct opening scenes of Jack Torrance driving up the Colorado mountain to the Overlook Hotel, and the scene right after where Jack Torrance enters his interview with Stuart Almond. I specifically chose these scenes because the driving scene was never actually mentioned in the book, as it would be quite difficult to narrate a scene like that for a writer. So it was quite interesting to see Stanley Kubrick's world-building skills put into action. Although most would consider it 3 minutes worth of wasted screen time, a worthy critic is able to effectively analyze how Kubrick set the tone for the movie in such a creative way. Kubrick uses a long shot bird's eye view of the yellow beetle that Jack drives, depicting the isolation of the route to the Outlook Hotel. This signifies the importance that whatever trouble will happen in the hotel over the course of the film, escaping said danger will not be easy as just as walking out the front door. Not only is the closest town a couple miles away from the hotel, there is also heavy snowfall in the winter, meaning they would have to tread through piles of snow. This scene easily ensures that escape when necessary will be no easy accomplishment, showing that Kubrick has already been setting up the hurdles for the protagonist to overcome since the start of the film. Furthermore, another interesting detail that was used in the opening mountain scene was the yellow beetle Jack drives to meet Stuart. Although another symbol that may go unrecognized until later on in the film, novel readers will understand its reference to the novel. Jack drives the same yellow beetle in the novel, as it is actually the main cause that ends up ending Jack's career as a teacher. When a student was frustrated that he didn't make the debate team due to Jack's decision, he slashed holes in the Beatles' tires. Jack caught the student in the act and violently attacked the student, making him hit his head. Because of this inability to control his anger, Jack was thrown out of the school as a teacher and was forced to find a new job. The final, and probably the most important detail used in the opening scene is the background music as the beetle progresses up the mountain. This eerie music is the perfect opening for such a movie as that it's known for its creepy horror style. The sound gives off a feeling that even though it is the start of the film, something bad might happen at any second, already leaving the viewers on the edge of their seats. The next scene I would like to mention, for being so unique from its original source material, is the scene appearing directly after the intro of the driving scene. Jack has arrived at his interview with Stuart Ullman, and is briefed about the job of caretaker for the hotel. Kubrick keeps music out of the scene as he wants the audience to focus on the dialogue, implying that what each character is saying will eventually be important further along in the film. As for camera angles, Kubrick uses close-ups on each of the characters' faces and switches between characters after they have said something important. This also implies that the audience should focus on what is being said, as it is important enough to get a character reaction, it is important enough to change the plot in some way.
He put both barrels of a shotgun in his mouth. Police, I thought that it was what the old-timers used to call cabin fever.
Well, that sounds fine to me.
How about your wife and son? How do you think they'll take to it?
They'll love it.
Right.
There were two casting choices in this film that struck me as interesting, one being a great choice, while the other had a lot of negative backlash. Kubrick's choice to cast Jack Nicholson as Jack Torrance struck others as odd, but completely justified in the director's eyes. Both Robert De Niro and Robin Williams were considered for the role, but were ultimately turned down. De Niro because Kubrick didn't think he was psychotic enough, especially after his role in Taxi Driver, and Williams because Kubrick thought he was too psychotic after his role in Mork and Mindy. Harrison Ford was also a contender for the role of Jack Torrance, but couldn't fit it into his schedule because he was working on Apocalypse Now, The Empire Strikes Back, Raiders of the Lost Ark, and Blade Runner. Although Jack Nicholson's performance received worldwide positive reviews from critics, Shelley Duvall's Wendy was ridiculed by these same critics, and even more harshly by fans of the novel. Under no circumstances was her performance bad, just a lot of the same crying and hiding scenes by the actor, not giving her much of a challenge to actually act. However, not even the static performance was what disappointed fans, but Kubrick's vision of Wendy was a complete polar opposite of the Wendy depicted in the novel. Wendy Torrance is a strong, independent woman who is more than capable of looking out for herself and even manages to fight back against the rampaging Jack throughout most of the novel. However, in the film, Wendy is incapable of doing anything without Dick or Danny helping her. This change came off as misogynistic for a lot of women viewers, damaging the potential higher reviews the film could have received.